Have you ever been a victim of stereotyping? I'm one of the victims of stereotyping because of where I am from. Stereotyping is basically a widely held but fixed and oversimplified idea of a particular person or a thing. Today, my job is to inform you about what stereotype is, how it affects the communication between people, and finally, how those problems can be resolved. First of all, stereotype is the act of judging people because of the actions and behaviors of others who are similar. Those stereotypes can be formed by sharing the opinion of other people who we value, such as a family member, a friend, or even a celebrity. Once I was watching the famous TV show called The Family Guy, and Peter the father was trying to get into a certain job. But for him to get into that job, he had to do a math test. And during that math test, while everybody was using their calculators, Peter put an Asian kid on the desk and asked him to do the math for him. In this situation, we see that the media is trying to establish a certain stereotype within the people. So, when someone believes that a particular type of people possess a certain characteristics, that person is more likely to recognize those who possess that characteristic in order to confirm his or her belief. However, that person is less likely to recognize those who do not possess that characteristic in order to disprove their belief. For example, once I missed my school bus and my father has to drive me to school. And while he was driving in a rush, he encountered a slow driver. His first response was that that driver is an Asian driver. He might be right in this situation, but my father only recognized the poor Asian driver and failed to recognize the other Asian drivers who were driving properly on the same street. Now we talked about what stereotype is. Let's talk about how it can affect the communication between people. Negative stereotype can build barriers between people, which can result in loss of communication between groups of people. So if you assume that you know somebody based on some assumption, you are more likely to estimate that person's characteristics. And just by doing that, you're already limiting your chances of communicating to that person. For example, once I did not shave my beard, so it fully grew. And I was walking in a mall with a friend of mine. And I saw one of my old classmates. He was pleased to see me, but one of the things he said to me was that I should shave my beard because I look like a terrorist. It really felt uncomfortable finishing the conversation with him, and I just rejected the idea of talking to him again. So, because of the estimation he made on my character, based on some assumptions, he made a barrier between us which caused a loss of communication between us. Now let's talk about how we can resolve those problems. There are many ways to resolve those problems, and the first one is just to become aware of this tendency and to hold those negative stereotypes and try to correct them by time. And another way is just by further understanding and education of another group and their cultural differences. This is often done by person-to-person communication. And by doing this, you're already giving yourself an opportunity to treat each person individually instead of assuming that that person possesses a certain characteristics. So, stereotypes may seem funny and harmless, but if you judge somebody based on someone's assumption, you're already limiting your chances of communicating to that person. So, always be careful before you judging other people and try to overcome those barriers in order to have better communication with that person. Thanks for watching.